The initial term was pork barrel, first used by author Edward Everett Hale in the popular 1863 story The Children of the Public, where he used the phrase as a metaphor for any form of public spending to the citizenry. At that time, it was not the derogatory term we use today. Now, that came after the Civil War and really got stuck in the public and governmental consciousness in a 1919 article by Chester Collins Maxey, which talked about members of Congress pitting out and sitting on and using and doing pork barrel bills. Today we can simply use the term porker for those elected officials who waste our cash, and at the moment, none greater than the Senate Minority Leader, Porker Harry Reid, who apparently is seeking to hide his porking transgressions and those of his fellow porkers. You'll get it all next. Welcome back to The Hardline. Vice President for Policy and Communications at Citizens Against Government Waste, Leslie Page. Leslie, here we go. Harry Reid, my goodness, what a shocker. The March Porker of the Month. But the thing, first of all, I was not shocked to see that you gave him the title, but the fact that he's really looking to hide a whole lot of pork and a whole lot of stuff going on behind the scenes here, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a difficult task to resist naming him every month. We almost have to put him off limits. But this time, this was so egregious, in fact, that it was absolutely necessary. Minority Leader Reid is the sole senator that has publicly come out and said he is obstructing the consideration of a bipartisan bill in the Senate called the Inspectors General Empowerment Act of 2015, the sole purpose of which is to be sure that the Inspectors General, who've been around for about 38 years and are taxpayer watchdogs, independent, watching over those agencies, that those folks have access to all the documents, reports, and data that they need in order to conduct those very, very valuable investigations that they do on behalf of us, the taxpayers. He is standing in the way of that. This is a bill, by the way, that has 9 Republicans in the Senate and 7 Democrats, including Senator McCaskill of Missouri. We have Senator Mikulski of Maryland, Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. These are not, would not be, these are liberal senators. This is a very bipartisan bill. It's non-controversial to the rest of us, but it seems to be very controversial to Minority Leader Reid.
First of all, I am absolutely shocked, astounded. I do not know if I'm going to be able to control myself with my shock value at the word obstruction being used by Harry Reid.
Yeah.
Gee, I've heard that an awful lot lately. He blames Republicans for obstructing. Okay, let's move on there. I'll get over my instant shock here. Why would he want to do this? Why would he be the only one sitting there saying no?
Well, I mean, you can read into it if you want to, pardon the pun. But, Senator Reid refuses to tell anyone, including his colleagues, at least publicly, on the floor of the Senate or anywhere else, why he is obstructing this bill. He says he has some concerns, and he claims he represents the interests of others who also have concerns. I would bet, my next paycheck that it's really only Senator Reid. I don't know what his concerns are. I mean, I think you'd have to ask yourself, what would Senator Reid have an objection to?
What would anybody have to hide at this point? I mean, that's what comes up to me, because if I'm looking at this right, the bill ensures that the Inspector Generals have access to all agency records for their investigations. That would seem to me to be pretty logical. If you have a problem going on, if you have waste, if you're trying to find out exactly what the issue is, you want them to have access to all the records.
That's correct, Ed, and of course we do, because they are one of the few really independent watchdogs, other than the Government Accountability Office and some law enforcement officials, that really have an opportunity to uncover not just fraud and criminal behavior, but just mismanagement, wasteful spending, abuse of the taxpayers' dollars. They do a lot of that work. And here's the situation. This is necessary, according to Senator Chuck Grassley of Ohio, who is one of introduced the bill, because the agencies under the Obama administration have become unbelievably obstructionist with their inspectors general. They refuse to turn over relevant documents, relevant, all kinds of relative data that these guys need, and gals who work in this agency, to pursue independent investigations on all kinds of issues. The Justice Department, by the way, interestingly enough, is an epicenter of this problem. There are 14 investigations currently underway but languishing over at the DOJ that are just being slowed down and delayed because they can't get the data they need. at the Inspector
Again,
General's office.
I've got to tell you, Leslie, I am shocked, astounded.
Shocked, I know.
The word obstruction, I can't even, I'm beside myself. We do want to point out to people that Republican Senator Chuck Grassley tried to bring this bill to the Senate floor December of last year. Senator Reid objected to the unanimous consent request, which would have allowed what should be this bill to pass on a voice vote. 20 seconds, Leslie.
Correct.
Where do we go from here on this bill? Anywhere?
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't ever count out Senator Grassley. He is not backing away. This will come up again, I can assure you. And second of all, the other big takeaway is the most transparent administration in history. Excuse me? Not the case. In fact, exactly the opposite. And taxpayers should be very concerned about this.
I can really just tell our viewers, please go to the website. It's cagw.org. Learn more about this. This is Senator Harry Reid blaming the Republicans for obstruction, and he's right there obstructing. There's going to be the word for the day. Leslie Page, you are the person of the day. Thanks so much for bringing this to our attention. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Stay with us, everybody. The Hard Line continues.